Hi, this is my update on the Russian war against Ukraine. So, for the last few days, I spent on the wheels, on the road. I went to the western part of the country to pick up a truck for army and drove it back to Kiev. I saw many exciting things on my way. First thing is that people make checkpoints literally at every village. So everyone in Ukraine actually knows about the war. It's not like it was in 2014 when for the majority of Ukrainians the war was somewhere there in Crimea and Donetsk. Now in every village people stand on checkpoints. They are very conscious. They have weapons. They check every car. They welcome Ukrainians. They ask if any help needed, and it literally touches everyone in the country. I even saw in one of the patrols the Protestant people. They asked them how come they stand with weapons in the checkpoint because their religion prohibits them to do so. They said that this is an exception. They stand for their country, and I was very impressed by this. Uh, as for the rest, the landscape around is pretty apocalyptic, especially if you drive during nighttime. All the gas stations are closed, there are no street lights, and there are concrete blocks on the highways, anti-tank protection. So it is, even though it is not prohibited to drive, but driving now in Ukraine requires to be very careful, and it would be better if you have some additional tank with fuel with you because gasoline and diesel are not available at any gas station. It is now a good luck to actually have a chance to fill a tank of the car. So when I came back to Kiev today, approximately at the same time, during daytime, there were airstrikes. Kiev was hit by rockets. One residential building was destroyed. Another rocket was shot down by anti-rocket missiles and crashed in one of the neighborhoods. At the same time, the same thing happened in Donetsk. This is my hometown I was born to, and it is under Russian occupation since 2014. Russian media pretends that this huge attack was performed by Ukrainian military, which is absolute false and lie. I have a different explanation of what happened today in Donetsk. As you remember, Putin announced that war as the war for liberation, so-called liberation of Russian occupied territories of Donetsk and Lugansk. But instead of liberating those territories, he went with war on Kiev and started to shell our cities of Kharkiv, Mariupol, Kherson, and many, many others. So somehow he had to explain to the residents of the occupied territory the nature of that war. And that's why they performed this false flag operation. As you remember, American intelligence, like a month ago, warned that Russians will use false flag operations in order to justify their aggression. So this is what happened. Because Russians pretend that that huge missile was shot from another city, which is just 20 kilometers from a place where the strike took place. But the missile which was used, Точка U, this is a long-range missile, middle-range missile. It strikes on a distance for about 100 kilometers. In this case, the strike distance was just about 20 kilometers, which looks very, very suspicious. So, and again, a Russian media machine just took this incident and started to spin it over, spreading, RT, all Russian resources are on high alert, reporting that Ukrainian army did this operation. But for the entire story of this war since 2014, Ukrainian army never shelled Ukrainian cities because we consider our people under occupation as Ukrainian citizens. We don't treat them like Russians do. We don't shoot at our people. We try to shoot at enemy outside the cities. We don't like street fights. We regularly don't do it. these are the Russians actually who carry on this tactic of, just demolishing cities and neighborhoods. So in Mariupol, which is a town where I spent 2 years of my life, the situation is getting worse and worse each day. You remember that a few days ago, Russians thrown an air bomb at maternity hospital in Mariupol, and there was a famous picture of a pregnant woman who was evacuated and taken out. So yesterday that woman died, and her baby died too, because of the Russian shelling and because of the fact that Russians don't let massive evacuation, don't open humanitarian corridors. It was reported now that humanitarian corridors actually started to operate, but I don't have any information about my friends, people whom I know from Mariupol. I know really lots of people with whom I lost connection, and there were no messages from them yet. And I pray and I hope that they're doing fine and they managed to escape. So these are the updates by now. Today also another round of negotiations between Russia and Ukraine took place. The background of that negotiations was the shelling of Kyiv neighborhoods, and again no terms or no agreements were reached or fixed during that negotiations. When from the Russian side, Kremlin spokesman Peskov told today that Kremlin will never stop and can take control over major Ukrainian cities. Interpreting these words into normal language, what Peskov said is that Russia will turn every Ukrainian city into Mariupol now, because by taking control over cities, we know that Russians mean by this. These are demolishing of the neighborhoods, occupation, kidnapping of officially democratically elected mayors and governors on the occupied territories, and so on. Today I met people who fled from Russian occupation from the northern outskirts of Kyiv, and they told me horrible things, that Russian occupants were just on the street taking clothes from the people and searching them for tattoos, because Russians believe that many Ukrainians are Nazis and have tattoos, some kind of Nazi tattoos on their body. So men and women were searched and in absolutely unhuman manner, and for some of them it was the tipping point when they take decision to leave their homes at any price and escaped. So any other news about this war, that Russians shoot one Ukrainian physics scientist, member of our Academy of Science, today, just when he walked outside his house and tried to talk to Russian occupants, they just getting lost in this flow of information about deaths, shellings. And by now, I don't see any light in the end of tunnel, except of Ukrainian nation, which heroically stands together and repels Russian aggression. And I'm happy to be part of that nation today.